So I'm a perma bull on Bitcoin. I've been that way almost just basically as long as I can remember. A perma bull on Bitcoin since I got into it. And I've shared this but the thing that keeps me as the perma bull is the fix the money, fix the world part. It is the F you central bankers part. It is the no, the government is broke, actually broke. Like the cost of interest is crazy for them, higher than anything else they spend money on. And fiat money is a big problem in the world. Like that, my conviction on all of that is off the charts, just off the charts. And it colors everything else that I see. And recently I've been practicing trying to pull back on that and looking at the world, call it more objectively. But then there's tension with even looking at it objectively, that story of just fiat money debasement, monetary debasement, I just think is still really big and really powerful. And I don't know how you step away from that. But this concept of is Bitcoin the best asset? Is it the best asset? Or what is Bitcoin's place in the world if it's no longer the fastest horse in the race? Is something I've been asking myself. And organically, what has happened at the same time, and I'm not saying I don't believe that it's the fastest horse in the race. I still do. I still really do. But I'm practicing at objectively standing back for the farthest I have in my life, so far since being a Bitcoin investor, about just how do other people see it? What are the risks? Just like that, asking self-reflection. When prices like this, those Bitcoin self-reflection days. And today was a big one of them. But in general, you're just trying to really, really zoom out, really zoom back, and really, really double check and question everything I believe, And at the same exact time, take all that for what you will. At the same exact time, I very much organically stumbled into this life need to switch from being a growth investor to an income investor. And that unlocked a bunch of new learnings in a bunch of different directions of thought experiments and things that I've never really dove down very deeply before. A funny double benefit of income investing is through covered calls specifically, is you are literally selling away your upside. You're selling away your upside to collect income today. Want to know what Bitcoin hasn't had any of for the last 4 months? Upside. So at the same time period when normally people would ask me hey, Brian, how do you, totally understand, fix the money, fix the world, totally get why you're so passionate about that. But what about in a bear market? And I've honestly never had a great answer to that. I've never had a great answer for that. I've not served people well with a great answer for that. I've just been it's worth it. It's worth it. The drawdowns are worth it because we're saving the world. I am that guy. I am that meme saying that, okay? But now, what's hilarious, now I actually have an answer. I actually have a genuine mathematical answer, and it's that, great, just buy a Bitcoin covered call fund then. Buy a Bitcoin covered call fund. Because you still have some growth, but you then have a lot of income. So you're still participating in the Bitcoin upside. You're participating in the Bitcoin story. You're participating on Bitcoin being better than the fiat. But you're also hedging by selling away some of the upside and collecting passive income. And so that's the BTCI fund that I talk about all the time. Now, there's now even another version that's an even more dialed down version of that, okay? And the Stretch from Strategy, STRC, their preferred dividend stock, is you're handing them the money and they're absorbing all of the volatility of Bitcoin and they're handing you 10.5% a year right now. that's incredible because again, you're participating in the Bitcoin story. You're helping Bitcoin beat fiat, and you are. That's not even just a cheesy like thing to say. Like you literally are. Because what that product is telling to the market, it's like, look, private credit pays this, government money markets pay this, savings accounts pays this, your buddy who's a real estate syndicator pays this. Like there's lots of places to park your safe money. There's lots of places to park your dry powder. There's lots of places to park your fiat and try to lose as least amount of purchasing power as possible. Stretch is saying, hey, we're going to put our money where our mouth is. We believe our credit worthiness, that you should hand us the money, our ability to make income off this, our ability to make good investments is higher than all those people. It's higher than all those people. So we'll pay you more. And so in that sense, you're like, when you buy Stretch, you're participating in a Bitcoin company attacking government money markets. That's as real rubber on the road as Bitcoin replacing fiat as anything else happening in the world. And so that's awesome. And the same thing with the Bitcoin covered call funds. The Bitcoin covered call funds are proving that the volatility of Bitcoin is different than every single other thing out there. Every single month that continues to have performance, it just proves that Bitcoin, like structured finance, is here and is more, mature. And so the income plan, it turns out, is also a great Bitcoin bear market plan. And I've never had a Bitcoin bear market plan before because my thing has always been, just it's worth it. It's worth it because beating fiat money is worth it. Now, I say all that. At the same time, something that is different about my Bitcoin personal finance strategy compared to other things you just people talk about online is we bought a house way early compared to a lot of other Bitcoiners' journey, at least people comparatively in our age bracket. And we did that by stopping, we don't necessarily sell large chunks of Bitcoin. We just stop buying it for periods of a time, and we would DCA into buying a house, or we would DCA into paying down a credit line, or we would, that's what we would do. And so we took our house pit stop soon. We took that early. And in that sense, that took some of the volatility of Bitcoin off the table even back then. So we're even having that barbell strategy of holding a very slow moving, slow appreciating, long-term 30-year mortgage type, inflation accruing asset, while at the same time holding the really volatile, really just crazy and wild, Bitcoin. And so it makes sense that I would find this third phase kind of these income funds and BTCI and Stretch, but it's just awesome. I've been reflecting a lot on the double benefit of these products. Make a lot of sense actually in a bear market or in a prolonged Bitcoin downturn. And I never really had a great answer for that. And so the outcome for you and the outcome for anyone is Bitcoin's suite of products now, you can dial in any percentage of growth versus income that you need. The other old school way of doing this was just simply holding Bitcoin and then holding cash. That's another way a lot of people do it. Hold Bitcoin and hold cash. For a long time, we would hold Bitcoin, hold real estate, and we'd be short cash. And now we're holding Bitcoin, we're holding real estate, we're short cash, and we're holding these Bitcoin income funds. And so you can dial in any set of those parameters that you need to while still supporting Bitcoin. And as cheesy as that sounds, the supporting Bitcoin part is still a really big kicker for me, because another way of phrasing supporting Bitcoin is really as much as I try, I really try to sit here and be maybe just having the S&P 500 index is a good idea, or maybe having the NASDAQ index is a good idea. Like I can't convince myself that. I can't, it doesn't feel accurate to the way that I see the world that I would want to hold that. But you can create the synthetic version of the S&P 500 by holding X percent Bitcoin, X percent cash, and X percent of stretch. You know what I mean? And so I'm comfortable with the 9% growth of the S&P 500 compared to the 30% CAGR of Bitcoin. The number itself doesn't bother me. It's the holding the S&P 500 part that bothers me, because inherently in holding the S&P 500, you're basically saying I agree with that version of America. I agree with that version of the world. And I don't. I still think there's a lot of just games and mechanics and just stuff that isn't really making the world an actual better place in the S&P 500. That doesn't mean that every company is bad. Companies aren't bad. Companies are just neutral things. But the fact that you can recreate the same growth/income on using Bitcoin products is the reason why I still lean towards Bitcoin products, because you still have that kicker of Bitcoin becoming a monster asset and eventually beating fiat money. And I actually think the companies in the world on a Bitcoin standard are going to be better than the current companies we have today. And because those companies, and this is the thing, being this type of investor is in theory what will eventually force S&P 500 companies to adopt Bitcoin as their currency. And so it's oh, you need my investment? Do you need my investment? Great. Then you have to be using harder, better money, because I can equal your return with Bitcoin products already. And so you have to add that to your story. So the way, so the dip is changing. The dip is basically the same. The Bitcoin dipping is the same as it always has been, because it causes reflection. The products and ways of thinking about Bitcoin personal finance are changing in real time and hitting a new kind of more mature, different life stage level. But the desire to beat fiat money, hasn't been beaten out of me. And so that's a Bitcoin down day reflection. If you made it all the way to the end, I think you would really enjoy being a channel member. It's a few bucks a month and you can cancel anytime. You can get members only live streams, join our private Discord chat for members of this channel. It's called the Bitcoin Personal Finance Think Tank. And so really trying to bring together people that are evolving the way that they incorporate Bitcoin into their personal finances. We have growth people, we have business owners, we've got real estate people, we've got people that go hard on dividend funds. And so it's a really good mix. Click join right next to the subscribe button and we'll see you on the next one.